Good evening and welcome to Match of the Day, just a little later than I promised last week, but I'm sure you won't begrudge the last night of the proms a touch of extra time. Stirring stuff, wasn't it? And I trust you'll find our two matches equally exciting because on paper and on the field they look pretty good to me. Both Southampton and Manchester United have started the season with a flourish, which lends particular intrigue to this fixture. Can you pick a winner, Barry?
Well, why not, Jimmy? Southampton to win, but not by much. Frank Worthington to score his first goal for his new club, but no clean sheet for Peter Shilton. He can save that until next Wednesday, I hope. But will I take some stick from Ron Atkinson if I'm wrong?
And so you might, we shall see. At the other end of the scale, both Spurs and Everton have been slow away from the blocks. But as they clash at White Hart Lane, they must both be aware that if they don't sharpen themselves up quickly, they could be in for a miserable time this season. Today, though, they're watched optimistically by John Motson.
Well, it may be too optimistic, Jimmy, to expect a repeat of what happened when Everton came here to White Hart Lane 25 years ago, because then Spurs won by 10 goals to 4. Mind you, Tottenham have just scored 6 in Europe in midweek, and Everton believe that they're due a goal or two themselves. So far, they've managed just 2 in 5 matches.
But goals are in the air, John, so we'll hope for the best. Headlines now from Bob.
Once again, the folly of playing league football 4 days before important internationals has produced its usual casualty list. So far, England have lost 1 player through injury, and Scotland and Northern Ireland 2 each. There's also been a further setback for Ozzy Ardiles of Spurs, and he could now face an operation.
So it's straight to Southampton for their match against Manchester United, where the Saints' fine start to the season, as well as the class of their illustrious visitors, should have packed the Dell. But there was still room for commentator Barry Davis.
Here's the man whom only Ian Rush of Liverpool has so far managed to beat this season. Peter Shilton with 4 clean sheets in 5 league games and looking for another this afternoon to celebrate his 34th birthday tomorrow. The lineup in front of him unchanged, and to quote the programme, looking to capitalise on the away points gained by winning the home game, and also to give themselves a yardstick against Manchester United as to how good they really are. Manchester United, of course, without Brian Robson, for whom Rebbe Moses deputises, and back into the side after being suspended in the midweek European match comes Norman Whiteside. So Lou McCurry is the substitute. The referee this afternoon is Lester Shapter from Torquay. And a little bit of summer at least has returned to the south coast. It's quite a bright afternoon. Southampton attacking the goal to our left. Here's Steve Williams, and it would be a good afternoon, I think, for Steve Williams to have a good match with Bobby Robson thinking about strengthening his squad in the absence of Brian Robson. Here's Duxbury, one of the England number. Norman Whiteside and Ray Wilkins. Whiteside makes the run to the left. And the free kick given against Ken Armstrong. I must say, looks an absolute ringer for the man he's come here to replace, Chris Nicholl. McQueen is up on the far side of the box. Halberston. I think that would be too strong. McQueen stopped because he lost flight of the ball because Worthington jumped in front of him. Here's Wilkins. Not cut out, but it needed some work from Williams as well. Wheeler was the first to get there. Free kick has been given for the challenge on Mick Mills. Suggested to him before the match that he's having a new lease of life, and he felt he had that a few years ago, I suppose. The moment that he was struggling for his place in the England side, suddenly he was captain in the World Cup. Halberston, that was a nasty one. Williams did well, kept it down well. So a goal after 4 minutes. goal really coming as a result of an error from Arthur Alveston. And Gary Bailey, well forward, found himself wrongly balanced. Steve Williams did awfully well to keep the ball down. Confirmation of the score from the crowd. A bit of an elbow then from Worthington. Here's Moran. Here's Alveston again. Stapleton. Moses. Muren. Not sure where he intended that to go. Well by Buller. Not too tidy. Dear, oh dear. Moran. The angle is impossible. And in fact, the ball beat him, I think. There's not too much room for the cameraman and not enough room for the players either. A touch of ice hockey straight over the boards. Worthington adjudged to have made a back for Kevin Moran. Green with some 20 yards to move into. Well timed. Stapleton held up by Wright. Nice touch from Muren. Challenged by Holmes. Wilkins, nicely struck. Didn't come in quite enough for him. But good to see Ray Wilkins have a strike of the ball from that sort of range. I don't think I'm alone in wishing he would do that more often, as indeed he did at Wembley with a goal that was worthy of winning any cup final. Question of playing the averages. So in my opinion, that was a foul by Worthington, who played McQueen. Sometimes the referee would be pleased if he had the sort of aerial view that we have. Williams, maybe a touch for Worthington, tries it himself. Oh, what a cracker! What a cracker! That's a marvellous goal. Manchester United may well have been thinking about the left foot of Frank Worthington, and instead they, and in particular Gary Bailey, were stung by the right foot of Steve Williams, who, having scored his first goal of the season in the 4th minute, now scores his second in the 17th. Interception by Buller. Cardiff is trying to impress Bobby Robson. He's not doing a bad job so far. Alveston. Foul by Wright, surely. Yes. Challenger went straight through Graham. He may claim that he played the ball, but in order to do so, seemed to me to flatten Graham. Queen didn't get in on it. Get a corner. Queen was the free man behind, but it came off the head of the defender marking Stapleton. Shilton. More up than away. Oh, what a good save. Did well to get back, but I think he would probably concede that he had to make the second because he didn't make the first. His movement around the area was very good. One side denied. pressure again, but Stapleton, judged by the referee to have fouled Peter Shilton. Decision that gained Shilton's applause and Stapleton's complaint. Which only goes to prove that referees can't win. Worthington, Armstrong, there was an offside flag, but Armstrong managing to get himself in front of Arthur Alverson. Offside flag, of course, wasn't against him, it was by the left-hand post as we look. Bailey has picked the ball out of the net twice, hasn't had to make another save. Might be a free kick against McMills. Holding Whiteside all the way. Green and Moran have come up again on the near side as we look. McQueen, number 6, looking for it once more and gets there that time. And that's the second time running that he hasn't been picked up, and that time the ball arrived at him. Stapleton, positive challenge by Wright. Oh dear. Muren. Southampton, 2 goals to the good, both scored by Williams. Interesting to see whether somebody picks up McQueen and Moran this time. Moran wasn't picked up, and such was the force of the header that for a moment Shilton seemed to be going backwards with it, but got his balance right. But surely they're going to capitalise on one of these soon, because big central defenders are just not being marked from the free kicks. Muren, Stapleton, good save. It's a good header too. And Peter Shilton watched it with such care and guided it where he wanted it. Muren who set up the opportunity. And this time Armstrong seems to have taken McQueen. Ken Armstrong, that is. Graham, Agbula, good header. And he got a kick in the face then from Moran. And the free kick will be given, although certainly Agbula's head was very low. This time there's a clear cut. He has reason to look rather less serious than that. Ken Armstrong. It's surprising that he conceded the corner. United's 7th, but no time to take it. They certainly kept Peter Shilton as the busier of the 2 goalkeepers, but Southampton go in at half-time with a 2-0 lead, both the goals scored by Steve Williams. One or 2 watching positions for which there are not tickets. 2 up a tree, although one thinking twice about it, and over on the far side, 2 sitting just behind the clock. Well, at this stage last season, Southampton have won just one game of their first 5, and we're about to lose here to Manchester United, and the following week go to the bottom of the table. What a difference their start this season. Remember, they conceded 6 at Spurs when Peter Shilton had just joined the side, 4 at home to Watford, and then later 5 at Liverpool. Southampton ball. Steve Moran. It's a pretty quiet afternoon, Moran. Worthington. And ball. Not given. Stapleton. Moses. Wilkins. Good challenge by Agrula. Very sharp indeed. That seemed to hurt Wilkins a bit. He's limping. Southampton defenders have aggressively attacked the ball. Won't let Graham get down to the goal line. Whiteside trying to set up Muren. Good save. He has been known to strike the ball harder than that. And even so, he did a good save from Peter Shilton, who got down quickly. Set up coming from normal Whiteside. Graham. Foul by Holmes. Really had no clear view of the ball to play at it. 3 forward for United. Whiteside on the right side. Stapleton. Graham. Arnold Muren. Williams. Bit of a dive in by Kevin Moran. What a chance here. Well, really more should have been made of that, because they had men over then. Southampton, after Steve Williams had taken the ball beautifully out of defence to find Wallace, who wanted to go it alone when maybe there were better things around. Stapleton. United really do look a little bereft of ideas. In the first half they were a real threat. That has not been the case in the second. Nick Holmes. Well, that runs kindly. Holmes and Armstrong. David Armstrong with an absolute gift. .79 minutes. And Southampton have a 3-0 lead. And it must be said, the ball ran rather kindly for them on the far left corner, with Moran and Holmes trying to work some space. Holmes suddenly found the ball just where he wanted. It was a beautiful cross, and David Armstrong was unmarked. 3-0. And here's Stapleton. appeal for handball. Well, I don't see there's any way the referee could have seen that, but one or two of the United supporters, most of whom are behind Peter Shilton's goal, certainly thought that Agboola handled the ball then. Shilton demanding concentration from all. Out by right. I think we've said that rather a lot of times. Shilton still wanting to protect what would be his 5th clean sheet. That's a foul. Mickey Mills looking daggers at Arthur Graham, which suggests in my mind that he thought that Graham was looking for that, and he could well have been right. Muren, Whiteside, goal kick. Gordon McQueen. Williams. Still with a chance of the hat-trick, of course. Now, what about that for a ball? Holmes. Still. Oh, it's a beauty. That is an absolute beauty. Well, the free kick is going to be given, it will not count. How unlucky can you get, because that was marvellously done. Obviously the referee saw a man offside, but it's very hard on Nicky Holmes, who worked that to perfection. Goal was disallowed, in case anybody's in any doubt, for offside against Frank Worthington. The referee obviously decided that Worthington was in a position to interfere with play. Free kick against Steve Moran. His best work has really been done in defence and cover. So 3-0 for Southampton. Their impressive start continues. The one goal of the second half scored by David Armstrong to add to Steve Williams' 2, the second of which was surely the perfectly taken free kick. Peter Shilton, yet another clean sheet. The unlucky man, Nick Holmes, who was denied a really beautiful goal because Frank Worthington was offside, and Laurie McMenemy must have heard the crowd shouting that they were going to win the league. It's early days yet, but this is a really impressive start by the Southampton side. 3-0 the final score.
Wonderful happenings at the Dell. It's good to see clubs from the lower divisions giving the runaround to their wealthier rivals, especially in such an entertaining way. And on that side, United played their part too, although manager Ron Atkinson afterwards publicly condemned his players for their performance. A great day though for Steve Williams, David Armstrong and Nick Holmes. The chip was superb, even though, as you can see, Frank Worthington was offside and I suppose interfering. But Peter Shilton is proving himself once again to be in a class apart. He's 34 in about 58 minutes' time. Happy birthday, Peter, and may you continue in this kind of form for Southampton and England, particularly next Wednesday and for many years to come. Well, now a chance to see Ray Clements, the man who kept Peter Shilton out of the England team for so long, as Spurs play Everton at White Hart Lane. And the story there seems to be about who's out as much as who's in, as commentator John Motson explains.
This is the day when one of football's glamour clubs has taken the field without £4 million worth of talent. Spurs absentees include Glenn Hoddle, Steve Archibald, Ozzy Ardiles, Gary Stevens and Danny Thomas, while Alan Brazil only gets the number 12 shirt. Injuries past or present are the root cause, but stout away performances by players of lesser reputation mean Keith Birkinshaw keeps the side, which won in Drogheda in the UEFA Cup on Wednesday. Everton are without new signing Terry Curran, who's injured, and Andy King, who's been ill. There's a recall in the central midfield position for Peter Reid, with Trevor Stephen, who came from Burnley, playing on the right. And Alan Harper at number 2 is one of 3 former Liverpool players in the Everton team. Johnson and Sheedy are the others. Spurs in white start the match looking for their first home win against an Everton side who lost here last season but did put Spurs out of the FA Cup at Goodison Park. It's Kevin Sheedy, number 11. Everton themselves have been going through a sticky patch. That's offside against Graham Sharp, and taken quickly by Perryman. And the referee this afternoon is Eric Reid from Bristol. David Johnson, Reid, Sheedy. Johnson. It was Roberts who came in with everything. Very much his trademark. One of the toughest tacklers in the business, Graham Roberts. Sheedy took it. They're appealing for offside, but the flag stayed down this time. Brook back to help. Forces the goal kick. Slack by Price. This is Sheedy. Or Roberts, rather. And Price comes over now, but it was Roberts who made the initial error. Galvin. A series of stoppages, mostly for offside, but there have been a few fouls too, like that one. So Everton now have the free kick. This is Sheedy. Taking over again. Offside again, if the referee sees the linesman's flag, which is going to cause a slight confusion there. There was a flag for offside, which initially the referee didn't see, and by the time he did, he'd given a corner, which Sheedy will take. Higgins got a touch, and it was turned in by Reid. Sheedy swung the corner in, Higgins flicked it on, and Peter Reid scored his first goal for Everton since joining them from Bolton Wanderers. But Tottenham will look back on the goal and the build-up to the corner, and although nobody went to the referee in protest, it's my feeling from here that the linesman was flagging for an offside before the corner was conceded. However, Everton are in the lead with only their 3rd goal of the season, and here's Sharp. Higgins, who had the flick on from the corner. Forward by Stephen. Oh, and Price's mistake, and Sharp is in here and could so easily have made it 2-0. Paul Price, who's bleeding quite badly from a cut on the face, misdirected the header, and Sharp was in. Easy to say he should have scored, but he took it fairly early, and Clements had obviously narrowed the angle. So Spurs fortunate not to go 2 behind. Here's Sharp again, and he's through once more. And chance here for Johnson. Good save by Clements. Sharp to Johnson. It was a good opportunity again, but a former Liverpool goalkeeper foiled a former Liverpool forward there. There was a handshake before the kick-off between Ray Clements and David Johnson. But that was Everton's second opportunity within a minute to go further in front. Perryman. Brook. And out by Harper. Now have Everton let Tottenham off the hook. If Spurs were to equalise before half-time, Everton could only look back and regret 2 chances spurned. It's curling a bit as Price came in. Here's Brook. Brooks, Price, Mabbott. Bailey's header out. And now Spurs in more trouble of their own making. That was Perryman and this is Heath. Stephen is well forward and Heath shoots. And a worried expression on the face of the Spurs manager, Keith Birkinshaw. That was Falco. And this is Brook. There's some good movement about Everton now. So often when you get 2 teams meeting when they're short on confidence, a goal can dictate the course the game takes. And it's Everton who are going forward with promise, and Spurs who are still playing very shabbily. And Johnson's in there. This is Sheedy! The second goal was on the cards, and it comes from Kevin Sheedy after 38 minutes. Spurs failing to clear the throw, and Sheedy, whose left foot is so tried and trusted, driving that firmly past Clements. It's his second goal of the season, to add to the 13 he got last year for Everton when he was their player of the year. And it's put Tottenham in terrible trouble here in front of their own supporters. 2 down and not playing at all well. Ball's out. So already this afternoon, Everton have doubled their goals total for the season. Well, the experiment of leaving out his star players for the moment appears to be rebounding on the Tottenham manager Keith Birkinshaw. Here's Crooks. Everton are playing well collectively. They're surrounding the Tottenham player in possession and robbing him of the ball. It's been the pattern of the first half. Hunting in packs. Well, Keith Birkinshaw kept faith with a winning team, but so far they haven't responded. A poor first half for Spurs, with Everton taking the chance to go in front through Peter Reid and adding to their score with a fine shot from Kevin Sheedy. New reading material for Tottenham supporters this season. The club are bringing out a monthly newspaper, which is quite separate from the club programme, which will still be issued in the normal way on match days. Well, for Spurs, the news gets worse and worse. To add to all the previous injuries, Paul Miller had an operation during the week for a cartilage. Gary Stevens withdrew from the England under-21 party only this morning, and now the news has come through to White Hart Lane that Ozzy Ardiles has been taken off in the reserve match at Ipswich, and that could mean, I fancy, a longer spell out for him. But back to business on the field here. They're 2 down, and if the team can't create a scoring chance, which they failed to do in the first half, then Alan Brazil is on the bench. Indeed, Jim Arnold hardly had any saves to make in the first 45 minutes. Crooks running on to Clement's kick, and it's a corner conceded by Ratcliffe. And what Spurs desperately need is a good start to the second half to get the crowd back on their side. And Falco. Crooks couldn't quite make it. O'Reilly had stayed forward. Falco battling away well. Good effort. Oh, that's a tremendous goal. He seems to pull them out early in the season, Mark Falco. And never have Spurs needed a goal like that more than at that very moment. It came almost out of nothing. He did extremely well to resist the challenge and keep possession. And Jim Arnold, who hardly had a shot to save before that, had no chance as it flew past him into the corner. So 2 minutes into the second half, Mark Falco scores his third in a few days. And that could change the course of the match, we shall see. A lot will depend on how Everton react now. Onside, Crooks. Brook is coming in from the far post. And Falco again. Oh, straight at the goalkeeper. Laid on by Crooks. Well pulled back, actually. And Falco, who'd scored from a far more difficult chance a minute earlier, at least got his shot on target and kept it down, but straight at Arnold. Ratcliffe. A mistake by O'Reilly. Allowed Heath in. Stephen. Shaking off Mabbott to find Reed. Sheedy, he's got some good close skill. That's Bailey's forward pass, and Johnson is onside. Great chance here, and he muffed it. But was he fouled? There was just the possibility that Roberts might have caught him as he shot. But Tottenham replying with Galvin. And the ball has gone out for a corner. So a debate at one end is followed by a corner at the other. Graham Roberts, who was the player challenging Johnson as he shot, now goes forward for Tottenham, but I've got a feeling that David Johnson, although it looked like a bad miss, may have just been caught by Roberts as he drew his foot back. I should have thought that's a point that the Everton manager will want to debate at the end of the game. Here's Steve Perryman. He's so willing, is Falco. Making something there out of what looked a lost cause. It's O'Reilly to take the throw, so Price has stayed forward. Falco's flick, Price's shot blocked by Sharp. And Sheedy. There's Perryman. And Perryman goes ahead to take Brooks' pass and pull it back for Mabbutt coming in. Stephen again. Spurs to make a substitution. Alan Brazil to come on. And Garth Brooks to go off. Roberts forward and Arnold's coming all the way again. He's done that 2 or 3 times. Good to see a goalkeeper commanding his area. I'm sure the defenders would go along with that, but there has been 1 or 2 weird moments back there. O'Reilly. Brook. It's good skill by Gary Brook. Well, when you think that his life was in danger only a few months ago, after his accident, the work he put in pre-season to get back to First Division fitness deserves commendation. And a substitution this time by Everton. Kevin Richardson will come on, and he will replace the scorer of the first goal, Peter Reid. It's one midfield player for another here. Roberts' header out. Richardson came through for his first touch. Now it's Ratcliffe, and his mistake enabled Brazil to latch on to the pass of Gary Brook. Still Brazil. He says corner. A question of whether Jim Arnold actually touched that, or whether it might even have clipped the outside of the post. That's Sharp with Roberts. Chris Houghton, well into stoppage time now. Galvin. Brook is free on the right, and Spurs have got 6 players forward with him. And this is surely their last chance. Jim Arnold having to put his cap on against the sun in these last anxious seconds. Richardson's header away. Everton had pulled everybody back. So it's Houghton for Spurs. And David Johnson is onside, but it won't matter because Everton have completed their first away win, and a very impressive performance it was by Howard Kendall's team. Deservedly taking the points, thanks mainly to their first half display, and a defiant revival for Tottenham with Mark Falco's goal was not enough, and they've now had 3 indifferent home results at the start of this season.
Indeed, Everton beginning to find their way, and all credit to them, while Spurs still look for theirs. It's unavoidable that injuries have played a part in their unimpressive start, but it's what happens from now on that counts. The pressure of share issues, TV advertising, higher prices, new brooms and dreams, which could come true, might be a disadvantage initially if those involved lose their cool. I hope they don't. The Cannon Football League needs a flourishing Spurs and a flourishing Everton as well. Bob.
The injury list so far for next Wednesday's internationals. Manchester United's Mike Duxbury suffered a recurrence of a hamstring injury and is out of the England squad against Denmark. That, as England manager Bobby Robson told me a short time ago, concerns him greatly as he's worried about the possible threat of Jesper Olsen on the left flank. It could mean a call-up for Viv Anderson of Nottingham Forest, but Robson will decide tomorrow. Other casualties: David McCreary of Newcastle has a bruised toe, and Birmingham's Jim Hagan a groin strain. They're both withdrawn from Northern Ireland's game with Austria. Scotland, who play Uruguay in a friendly, have also lost two. Arsenal's Charlie Nicholas has damaged ankle ligaments, and Colin Walsh, who scored all 3 goals in Nottingham Forest's 3-2 win at Norwich, is in hospital with a bad neck injury. On the brighter side, at least for England, Trevor Francis looks as if he'll be fit after an injury scare in training. Bobby Robson must also be pleased to learn that one of his squad, John Barnes, scored twice in Watford's 4-0 win at Stoke, and another, Tony Woodcock, got one of Arsenal's 4 at Notts County. Perhaps the most significant goal of the afternoon was scored by West Bromwich Albion's Gary Thompson. It came 4 minutes from the end of the match against West Ham and so ended the last 100% record in the league. West Ham, however, stay top, a point ahead of Southampton and Liverpool, who are now the only unbeaten teams in Division 1. Ipswich, beaten 1-0 at Birmingham, dropped from 2nd to 4th, and Manchester United from 3rd to 5th. Now that news about Ozzy Ardiles. He limped out of Tottenham's reserve game at Ipswich and will see a specialist on Monday. Manager Keith Birkinshaw said, "We will seriously consider an operation now. We can't keep going on like this." The biggest win of the day, Manchester City's 6-0 victory over Blackburn in Division 2. Derek Parlane scored a hat-trick. And that win takes City into 2nd place, a point behind Sheffield Wednesday, who beat Chelsea 2-1 after being a goal down at half-time. Now more action with the top game played in Scotland's Premier Division, Rangers against Aberdeen. A crowd of over 30,000 were at Ibrox, so was Archie McPherson.
Stewart picks it up. The money by McGee, Patterson is with him. Olsen! McGee right through Peter McCloy. Here's Weir. Number 2.
Afterwards, there were angry scenes at Ibrox, with several hundred demonstrators calling for manager John Gregg to be sacked following what was Rangers' 3rd successive league defeat. It's worth taking a careful note of tonight's pools news because it looks like a good payout. With only 7 score draws and 3 no-score draws on the coupons, telephone claims are required for 23, 22.5 and 22 points. The score draws: 12, 13, 15, 19, 38, 46, 53. The no-score draws: 14, 28 and 39.
Well, that's all for tonight, and we really will be back at 10 o'clock next week. It's been a happy day for us, and I trust, because of the jovial nature of 2 impressive football figures who sadly died this week, John Cobbold and Sir Dennis Follows, we'll be able to remember them with a smile and rejoice at the service they gave to the game they loved and the friendship and fun they provided too.